Here's a question for you. Should phones be banned for under 16s? That's what one group of parents are calling for, saying phones should come with a tobacco-style health warning on packaging because addictive apps can leave children distracted, isolated and depressed. Campaigners, Us for Them, are calling on the government to intervene to protect children. Pleased to say representative is with us this morning, Molly Kingsley, along with Noah Khogali, a Conservative councillor, political commentator with Young Voices UK. Great to see you both. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. What's your beef with mobile phones?
I should say it's not mobile phones per se, but it's with smartphones and in particular the very addictive by design technology that they put in the hands of kids 24/7. And the stats on these speak for themselves. You know, 91% of our 11-year-olds have a smartphone and they lose on average 3 hours, 20 minutes of their day to that phone. And, you know, we are seeing the impacts of this everywhere we look across an entire cohort of children. So our issue is, by all means, give your child a phone. You know, if we can have a GPRS phone, text functionality, a phone that they can call people on, fantastic. But really, the kind of smartphone, addictive technology is not suitable for children.
So a brick, a burner phone they can have, but not these flash phones.
Look, at the end of the day, we live in a digitised world, and it is, quite frankly, ridiculous to expect under 16s to not exist within that world, create something that doesn't exist for them, till the day they turn, what, say 17, maybe 16, where they can now fully integrate into our digital society. It's heavy-handed, and to be honest, it's lazy, when we could be teaching our young people how to responsibly use possibly the most powerful invention that humanity has ever happened across. That we have such wealth of information in our pockets all the time. We need to teach our young people how to use that in the best way possible, rather than just this heavy-handed ban.
So look, I mean, that makes sense when you say it, but actually the reality is it is failing for children and parents. So, you know, you have an issue here that has become a cohort-wide problem. All children have phones, most of the parents have phones. The truth is parents aren't using their phones responsibly. Like, we are failing our children, and, you know, monkey see, monkey do. So we are setting this terrible example, and our children, just like us, are becoming addictive to this technology. So, you know, the state, there is a point at which a state intervenes to protect society, protect adults, protect children, when we're failing to protect our children from harm, and we have reached that point.
And the state should intervene and ensure that we integrate the technology into the way young people learn, and we teach them to use it responsibly. Shouldn't be a government's role to just embark on some regressive policy because they don't, and parents sometimes don't know how to deal with a technology. We should be ambitious and look forward and work out how to make something that is, at the end of the day, an amazing tool, something that young people and adults use responsibly.
So look, I mean, I think we can accept that there is a situation where phones are made safe, and, you know, there's legislation which may help. Personally, I think it will barely scratch the surface of the harm that phones unleash on kids. And I think until you have technology that is proven safe in a child's hand, that technology should not be made available to children. It's exploitative. You know, the phone companies, the social media companies are monetising our children's eyeballs, their attention, their time, their lives, and they are monetising that for the benefit of advertisers. Children get none of that reward. It is all harm for children.
I mean, it's not. I think I've seen people suggest that it is similar to something like crack cocaine, I think is the word that's used a lot in the media. That's complete nonsense. Something like that, there is only negatives. Something like mobile technology, there is positives. There is a wealth of information available on the internet. The heightened communication can be a really good thing. We just need to teach people how to use it responsibly. It's not the same as something like drugs or something like alcohol, where the vast majority of the side effects are negative. We can find positive effects from it.
So I think we're talking about two different things here. So I absolutely agree with that with the internet, and I don't think any sane person would say children should never be allowed on the internet. I think what many of us have an issue with is the internet in children's pockets 24/7 with no control. You know, through that device, children are exposed to an array of harmful content they would never come into contact with in the real world, nor would they come into contact with it likely in their bedrooms, where they can be monitored and supervised by parents. This, you know, phones take that control away from parents, and it puts so much harm in the way of children.
There are safeguarded controls that can be implemented, though, and if a parent's really concerned about what a child is doing when the parent's not watching, the parent can just watch. That is something they can do.
Well, they can't.
It's
They
not
can't
the same
know
as
when the
outright ban.
phone's in, the phone's in the child's pocket and the child's in school or on the way to school. So, that option has been taken away from the parents. I think parental controls, absolutely agree. There are parental controls. Many children find their way around parental controls. And again, parental controls don't work in a world where many other children are not subject to the same control because you have that element of peer pressure.
But in the same way as a child or a young person can find a way around parental control, they'll find a way around government controls as well. I think you probably see it all the time. I'm not sure what the actual age restriction is on something like Facebook, but I certainly remember not that long ago when I was probably under that age at school, everybody just put in a fake age. It is easy to get around. So the better thing to do is find a way to teach everyone to use it responsibly. Don't just ban it and pretend the problem goes away, because it doesn't. And then you just push the problem later on. All you will do will have a generation of young people who get to 16, 17, suddenly are, greeted with this wealth of information and communication ability, and then you're just assuming the problems that have plagued them whilst they're a young or a younger person won't exist then. It's complete nonsense.
Final thought?
I think it's got to the point. Let's take an analogy of road safety. So, would we let our children go out on the roads in the world where there were no road safety limits, where drivers were advised and educated about what might happen if you drove at 60 miles an hour in a village, but actually there was no rule preventing that? Of course we wouldn't let our children go out in that environment. It would just be dangerous, and that is where we are with social media.
Final thought?
We need to be teaching people to be responsible and teach them how to use these absolutely amazing tools that humanity has invented. Don't be regressive. Don't be the people that said no to paper and yes to the stone tablet. We need to look forward and be ambitious.
OK, good to see you both. Good argument. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.